In the top stories, 14 retired nurses recognized for contribution to health care in Nevis. Biden administration easing some U.S. restrictions on Cuba, and UK sets out new law to change post-Brexit Northern Ireland trade. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of May, 2022. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, this past weekend, 14 persons in the healthcare system on Nevis were publicly honored by the Nevis Nurses Association for their contribution to healthcare on Nevis at its annual awards gala and dinner. The event was held on Saturday at the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park Conference Center in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs in the Nevis Island Administration. In her remarks on behalf of Junior Minister of Health, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, Assistant Secretary in the Ministry, Latoya Jeffers, thanked the healthcare professionals for their dedication to serving others. She said she felt honored to be in the company of heroes as she praised the 14 awardees. And while presenting the opening remarks, President of the Nevis Nurses Association, Simone Harris, congratulated all of the awardees for their contributions to healthcare. To the nurses among them, Nurse Harris stated that everyone had a unique style and would be greatly missed. She thanked them for their guidance and wisdom. Following the remarks, Premier of Nevis and Minister of Health in the NIA, the Honorable Mark Brantley, presented each of the nurses with a plaque. A small contingent comprising faculty and students from the Nova Scotia Community College in Canada is visiting St. Kitts and Nevis. This visit is made possible through a joint partnership project established in 2013 between the NCSS and CFBC under the theme Culture, Entrepreneurship, Leadership and Professional Skills Program, or SELPS. Speaking at the orientation ceremony on Monday, Vice President of CFBC, Dr. Moya Rotham, said she was thankful for the partnership and welcomed the visiting contingent. Dr. Rotham expressed hope that the experience in the Federation will serve as a mechanism in which students can be empowered for their future. The NCSS contingent will be immersed in the culture of St. Kitts and Nevis through a series of planned activities, which entails visits to various government ministries and departments, historical sites, as well as social engagements during their 2 weeks of stay. The Power of Museums, which is the theme of International Museum Day on May 18, will be the special topic for discussion on the government radio and TV program Working for You later today. The special guest will be Rilis Godeth, Executive Director of St. Kitts National Trust, Janelle Nisbet, Director of the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, and Percival Hanley, the General Manager of the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society. Since 1977, the International Council of Museums has organized International Museums Day, which represents a unique moment for the international museum community. The objective of International Museum Day is to raise awareness about the fact that, quote, museums are an important means of cultural exchange, enrichment of cultures, and development of mutual understanding, cooperation, and peace among peoples, end quote. Organized on the 18th of May each year, or around that date, the events and activities planned to celebrate International Museum Day can last a day, a weekend, or an entire week. The day was celebrated for the first time 40 years ago. More and more museums participate in International Museum Day all around the world. Working for You is broadcast live every Wednesday on ZIZ and other participating radio stations from 1:30 p.m. to 3 o'clock. The program is also streamed live on the SKNIS Facebook page and the SKNIS YouTube channel. Moving now to news on the regional scene, the United States is easing some restrictions on Cuba, including curbs on family remittances and travel to the island. The measures announced on Monday come after a lengthy U.S. government review and ease some of the restrictions imposed during former President Donald Trump's administration. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bow reports.
The past 2 years have been difficult for people like Joel Pulido. He owns a small hostel in Havana. Economic sanctions and lack of tourism due to the pandemic has worsened the economic conditions in Cuba. The U.S.'s decision to lift some economic restrictions could have a positive impact on his business. But Joel is not fully convinced how much it will change things on the ground.
It's totally unpredictable what will happen with the measures. Many promises have been made before and we're still in the same situation. We can only wait to see if it favours us or not, if it happens.
The US announced it is lifting Trump-era restrictions that include limits on family remittances, flights, and a family reunification program. It was a campaign promise by Joe Biden, and it's supposed to alleviate the impact of US policy on the population.
Almost everyone here has family in the US, and it represents a lot for us to get help from there, not only economically, but also to be open, to be able to go there and our relatives can come here, the possibility of being in touch with our families.
The Cuban government said the announcement is positive, but does not modify the impact the US embargo continues to have on the island. The US decision comes as Cuba passed a new penal code that analysts say curbs dissent. In July last year, thousands of people took to the streets to protest against the government. Hundreds of protesters were detained and are facing years in prison for speaking against the political and economic conditions on the island. Human rights groups say the US timing was wrong.
I would have liked to see Biden announce we are going to open the embassy, give away the 20,000 visas, begin with a reunification process. But I would also have liked to see something on human rights, like we are going to sustain a fund to assist civil society, to assist the relatives of political prisoners, or other things that put human rights at the centre of US policy.
Tough economic sanctions have failed to bring about political change in Cuba. And that's why, for many, it's time for a new approach. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
Still on the regional scene, in Guyana, the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Persad, emphasizes how all Guyanese can assist in getting persons out of domestic violence situations. Daniela Arauja reports.
At the first session of the Women's Innovation and Investment